Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at Lacrimosa.
This is a new game designed by Gerard Asensi and Ferran Renalius and published by Devir Games.
It plays from 1 to 4 players in about 90 minutes.
This is going to be a first impressions review of the game. We have played it 2 times so far. So the plan is later to do with these first impressions is to do like one video with more final thoughts basically for maybe Ativa, for Spaceship Captains, and for Lacrimosa, and maybe more that we will do first impressions of to get some thoughts out there on the interwebs.
On the interwebs.
This new thing called the internet, because people
it's not gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a...
It's gonna die down, this internet thing, pretty soon.
Yeah.
YouTube's not here to stay. Today, we're taking a look at Lacrimosa, the game where you are patrons of and rich people who knew Mozart, and you're gonna tell his late wife, no, his wife that's not dead, he is dead. You're gonna tell his wife about all of the travels and things you did with Mozart, and she's gonna write a book about it, or that's the theme, the setting.
Yes.
So that's this game, Lacrimosa, one of the hottest games for Spiel. We're gonna do a short little overview because that's what we do on the channel. But if you're new here, is there something you can do?
You can subscribe, it's a button down there. You can even click the bell button to get notifications each time we post a new video. Also, this game is provided to us by the publisher, so that you know that.
That's what you know. All of that out of the way, let's talk about this game. Lacrimosa is a card-driven action selection game. You're gonna play through 5 rounds, and each round you are gonna do 4 or more actions, depending on, because some cards that you get, because there's some small deck building here, is going to give you more multiple actions on each turn. So each time it's my turn, I am going to place 1 card at the top of my player board and 1 card in the bottom of my player board, and they slide beautifully into the player board. And then I'm going to do the action or actions on the top card, and the bottom card is going to tell me what kind of income I'm going to get at the end of the round. That's called story points. That is basically currency. You have 3 different types of story points that you can use as currency, and also coins that you can use as currency. So these actions are pretty simple. One is that you can get new cards. I don't remember the thematic names of them, so I'm going to look it up, because theme is not what we do here on this channel. We are all about mechanisms. You can document memories to get more cards into your deck.
Yeah, that
you
is
can
get new cards.
commission an opus to get a card that's not going into your deck, but on the side of your board, which has numbers on them. They're supposed to be like musical works.
Oh, yeah.
You can perform or sell the opuses that you have already commissioned. You can travel with Mozart, moving him around on the board and gaining bonuses. Or you can do the Requiem action, where you make other composers make instrument parts of the Requiem so you can score points. And those are the actions, and that is basically the very short overview, because that is the actions you're gonna do. And I've explained how you do them by placing the cards. There's some bonuses you can get, there's some income bonuses, some different actions you can get. When you do the Requiem action, you will choose where you want, which part of the Requiem you want to do, and which composer and which instrument. And depending on the instrument, you get the instant bonus, and you will also get a composer tile, which will give you either an instant bonus or an ongoing bonus for the rest of the game. So that is the brief overview. I'm done with it. Let's get on with the show.
Yes, the game looks nice. I think that the artwork on the cards that you can both get to play, and also the what do you call it, the opuses?
The opuses.
Opuses. They look nice. I like the artwork on those. Other than that, I don't think there's much artwork in the game. I love the box. I really like how the box looks.
Pick it up, show it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. I love this. And also, I think that the way that it's set up on the board, it looks fine. It makes sense. I know where things things are.
I think that's a correct English thing.
But what I think the best about like the components in this game is the player boards.
Yeah.
Because they're foldable and they look kind of like a notebook or something. And they are multi-layered, and it's just really nice.
Yeah, I like it. As I said, like this is kind of like the Aquatica board, if you've seen that. That's the only board I can come up with which has that same where it's not just multi-layered. It's not like many games where you place card, you place them like under the where they have like a slit, like Lisboa, for example, has those player boards that like you have a 3-layer player board and you have a space for the card. But here it's actually in the player board, so you slide it into the player board from the top and the bottom, and I really like that. I do enjoy the look of the board. This is for me, like when I took pictures for this review, this might be one of the more beautiful boards from games for a little while. I really enjoy it's very classy, looks very nice, and I love like this is a very unusual rulebook. Like this is a dead person's hand, which is kind of macabre, but I love it being such a different color scheme than everything else, because when I saw a picture of this the first time, I was like, this is pretty weird, and I like that it's kind of like you will be looking at it and say, oh, it says Lacrimosa, but I'm not sure if it is. But when I have the rulebook, let's talk about it. Perfect transition time. This is a rulebook. It's 24 pages long, but it's not 24 pages of rules. It's basically, I think, 7 pages of rules, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages of rules, and they're set up. And then there is the new thing that almost every rulebook has now, which is kind of like explaining all different components in the game. Cool. I feel like that is kind of like a thing that's newer. Like all rulebooks has it now. This has it in the order I like it to be.
Okay, so the how the game flows first, and then
I know people who like it the other way around. So
but then you can just like.
So yeah, but I always read it from the beginning to the end. So when it's the other way around, I get confused by saying like, when you do this and you put this on a Snagelflock, then you will be in Snubur. And I don't understand that before I read the rest of the book. But this was a good rulebook one I enjoyed reading. It was easily laid out, has many examples, great pictures, and everything was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Are there player boards, or no, player boards they are there player aids in the game?
Yes, and they are kind of in the player board.
Yeah.
I like that we got 2 different languages. And then you punch the little player aid out from the punch board. Thank you. And you put it in your player board.
Player board.
I like that.
Yes, and you also like words.
I like
when
words.
You remember words, you really like them.
Yes, I do.
We played this game once with 2 players and one with 3 players. First time was 3 players, which was 2 hours and 10 minutes. Probably going to be shorter the second time you play. Yeah. And the second time with 2 players was 1 hour and 20 minutes. So it's gonna, like when you do first impressions like this, it's always gonna be longer than normal when the first game we played. So that's why we're saying it's first impressions. So we can't like say, oh, 3-player was bad because it was long, but that's because we played it for the first time. So what do you think about the player? The time it takes to play the game. Lacrimosa, that's the game.
If you're playing it in like 90 minutes, as the box says, or a little more.
The box says 90 minutes?
Yeah.
Like just 90 minutes?
90 minutes. That's what it says.
I don't understand how that makes sense for any game. Well, because it's not going to be like 2 players 90 minutes and 4 players 90 minutes.
I think it's gonna be hard to play this game in 90 minutes with 4 players.
Yes.
But I think that you can get it down, and if you get it around like 90 to 120 minutes, I think this is a fine length for this game. Yeah. I think if it goes over there, I think it's gonna drag.
Yeah, I feel like the 3-player game, of course, was a learning game.
Yes.
But I felt like the smoothness of the 2-player, like an hour, 20 minutes, was way better for what the game gave me.
I agree.
And so this is not something we usually, I don't know if it makes sense to talk about it here, but it kind of does, like it's kind of in between.
Let's go.
It's how interactive is the game?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a new, I think that's a new thing we need to add to the reviews.
Kind of touch into it.
Yeah, but I think that
without being a headline.
But if you want to know, because we don't do it in all games, and I think it's an important thing to know how interactive is the game, and it kind of makes sense to, maybe we can do like a transition from player count into gameplay with interaction, because it's different in different player counts in some games.
In the 2 games that we have played with 3 and 2 players, I think like the biggest difference for me personally between those player counts is the excitement is the word I'm looking for the Requiem action, because that is basically area majority, and it's a very interesting one as well. I'm segueing into gameplay now.
We are, yeah, that's what's the plan.
Because you don't necessarily need to have like the most of your pieces there, but the pieces from one, you have two composers, and the pieces that are from one composer that are chosen the most for that area is the ones that are going to score the most points.
That's your favorite word. I like that. Moist points. The moist points.
But that means that in a 3-player game, you can really like, oh, I see you're going for that composer, and the other player is going for that. Which one am I going to support, and which bonus do I need to get, or do I want to fight you on this, or do I want to join the same team and hope that the third player in this game, or the fourth, I don't know, are going to sabotage us in this. I really lost that excitement with 2 players, as I think that is the main element that I'm going to feel is less fun with 2 players.
But I feel like overall the interaction beside that is not too much.
I agree.
Like it's, oh, you took that card I wanted, but probably going to be another card that's almost as good. If not, like all people go for the same card strategy, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like it has some interaction, because you have, when you move on the board, you move the same piece around. And if I had a plan like, okay, I'm going to spend 2 coins to move him over there, and then you do a travel action and you move him all the way over here, I don't have to pay for all the travels all the way to where I wanted to go. Or maybe I say like, oh, but no, I'm super close to that, so maybe I do that instead. So that's kind of the interaction here. So when we talked about the Requiem now, let's continue talking about that before we go into the other things.
Yes.
Do you, because that is kind of the theme of the game, kind of, is to make the Requiem. Do you feel like do you feel like any of the actions in itself are very exciting in this game?
Okay, so
leading question.
You're not talking about just the Requiem now?
No, but kind of like with that being like the most interactive part.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that first then, the Requiem part. You find it exciting?
Not very, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, now I can sneak in there, and now it's full in this, and I get the 6 points that I wanted, and that's cool. But I'm not super excited by it. I think it's cool that it's not only a real majority. I think it's cool that you're also buying this tile. Gives you a bonus. Sometimes it gives you like a passive bonus. You can choose a passive bonus that it benefits you throughout the game. That can be really powerful, I feel like. And also, I think it's cool how you kind of plan for what instruments parts that you want to make, because if I, for example, play on my drums here, I can't, I only have 1 drum. I don't
think there's drum, but
I don't know,
percussion, I think.
Okay, yes,
but there's drums in
I chose a very bad
but
instrument
we're not
to
good
talk about.
at music, so
yes. Instrument. I only have 1 of that, for example. Then I see that all other places where I can place drums or trumpets or a choir or something, I can't take that. And you can see that, so you know that, okay, that's safe. That space is safe.
In a 2-player game,
yeah,
of course.
For example. I think that is, cool. I think it's interesting, but not like super exciting.
I like the fact that you you will draw a card at the beginning of the game and it will block out some things on the board. That's going to change out a bit how it feels. And one thing, for example, the 3-player game we played, there was only 2 places for choirs.
Yeah.
So when I took 1 and the last player took 1, you had 1 piece you never could get out.
Yes, absolutely.
And you don't have to get them all out to win the game, but that is like one of the main parts to get points. So I enjoyed the fact that sometimes you had to be like, oh, I really want that special ability, but that's for the wrong composer.
Yeah.
That like the other composer has many more there, and I would be better to do that.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that there's 4 of them, so it's like a bit of replayability there.
Yes, because you only use 2 at a time.
Yeah. So it's gonna be, and those actions can make some good combos, like they make some good point scoring abilities as well.
Yeah.
Let's go like to the core game mechanism, which is the placement of the cards. The multi-use cards, basically. How do you feel about that?
I think that was cool. I think it's I compared this a little in my head to Newton, but that is a way that you kind of switch, you upgrade your hand. You don't do it in the same way in Newton, but you kind of be like, okay, I really want to get this new card, but then you're replacing one of the others. So then you always have to be like, okay, I want to have this action available. If you get rid of all the cards of one action, you can't do it. So you have to be like a little careful about which cards that you replace.
Yeah, because you will replace the card you place in the bottom
Yes.
slot here. So sometimes you're gonna have two cards and you want to play them both,
Yeah.
but you can only play one on top and you have to play one on the bottom.
Yes.
And if you get a new card, you have to replace it.
Yeah, so sometimes I didn't want to do the action of getting a new card because I really like the card that I would have replaced it with. So I think that is a cool I think that is a cool mechanism. It's very seldom that I don't play a card because I like, oh, I want these resources.
Yeah.
That is very seldom, but I think still that is a cool puzzle.
I think it depends on what kind of cards you take, because the earlier you take cards, you're going to have like some bonuses on them.
Yeah.
And the later cards you take are also better for the resources. So sometimes you're going to be like, oh, but I want to play this great action, but then I get less resources to use the actions. So I think that balance is interesting, and is like the core puzzle here for me is a fun one. The core
agree.
like of the, you're gonna have 4 cards in your hand, play 2 and draw 2 more. So you're only gonna have 4 cards at the beginning of each round. So it's a bit of randomness as well, because you won't be able to, if I really want to do that action and I don't get it, you're gonna have to wait. That's kind of like that's how it is, but you're gonna see all of your cards each round.
Yeah, just the order. Yeah.
Because there's only 9 cards, and you're gonna draw 2 and 1 at the end. There's only 5 actions in the game.
Yeah.
And 2 of them is taking cards.
Yes.
Which means there's only 3 actions in the game.
Yeah.
And one of them is, we already talked about.
Yeah.
Like the getting of cards. You pay resources and you get the card.
Yeah.
If it's an action card, as I said, you have to discard the card to play for resources and play that. And if it's an opus card, you have to pay the resources and place it beside your board.
Yeah.
So those are very simple. Then you have the Requiem we already talked about.
Yep.
So there's only 2 more actions basically to talk about and
Yes.
tell you what we feel.
Yeah.
So the perform and sell music.
Yeah.
Which you can do performing a piece. You just tap Wizard of the Coast, you own that word. You can
Exhaust.
rotate your card
Rotate.
90 degrees
Yes.
to basically get some kind of income. And sometimes you will have to also pay resources to be able to do that, depending on like the better the income is, you're going to do that. That's the way to get coins. And if you sell the card, you sell it basically to somebody else who can perform it. You remove the card from the game and you will get movement on your purse track, which is income, which is going to give you more coins and points and resources at the end of each round. And you will also get some points for doing that most of the time. So how do you feel about that action? Go! Action time!
This is first impressions, so that it might change if I play it more, but since it's so few actions that you can actually do in this game, sometimes you want to buy new opuses, because that is an action.
You mean
that you're
commission
going
an
to do.
opus?
Yes, commission, theme, yeah. But I very often found myself in that position that I didn't prioritize, or I couldn't do like the selling of or performing of the opuses as much that I got more in that I got out of the things that I had. So in very, very many cases, it was nice to, or it felt better to just sell them because that felt better to get some points and also like this income.
Yeah.
But I think this is where the final scoring comes in, because if you keep these opuses, you can pick up some final scoring cards that lets you net some points for them, even though you can't really use them like massively throughout the game.
I feel like it depends on the strategy you play, because the first time I played, I had cards that gave me the possibility to do like 2 performance actions on one card.
I think that is really cool, because buying new cards with like double actions on them feels really cool.
And it's gonna basically steer your strategy depending on those cards that you buy. And not all cards are gonna come out, so it's not like you cannot play a game like this time I'm gonna go for a doubles performing card, because it might not come out. Depending on how many players you are and how fast that cycles through. But I feel like so it's kind of like it is a strategical game, because it's not, I can go for a strategy. I chose to go, okay, I'm going to go heavy for this. The second game we played, I went heavy for the opuses, which has like a praying hands on them, which are worth almost nothing. But
Yeah.
I got a card an ability that gave me points when I interacted with them.
Yeah.
So that gave me and those gave you loads of points when you got them, but then they didn't really get you anything for performing or
Yes.
selling them. So there's many different paths to go.
Yeah, I think so
And
too.
let's talk about the last action as well, which is
Yeah.
a travel action.
Yeah.
Which is super simple. You're gonna move Mozart around and you're gonna pay for where you move him, and then you're gonna either take like the tile that is there, pay the resources and get something, or you can pay something and get a final scoring tile.
Yeah, I think that was cool. I think it's nice that you can move him as far as you would like, but if you want to move him far, you have to pay more. But that means that if something is really important to me,
Yeah.
I will get there
Yeah.
if I have the money, which I think is a cool mechanism, that it isn't just like you have one movement or two.
Yeah. And I feel like money, depending on the strategy, can be kind of tight.
Yeah.
Really depending, and you don't have to have loads of money, but money is freedom basically.
Yeah.
Feels
Haha,
like
money
it
is
sometimes. Money is
freedom.
freedom, kind of like the world. But I feel like, as you said, like the final scoring is there. It's not huge points. It's one of those games like I remember Edward from Heavy Cardboard saying like, if there's final scoring, you have to go for it, and that is most often the case. I don't feel like this is a game where you have to go for final scoring.
I agree.
You could easily win the game. Like travel is kind of a strategy in itself, and if you go for that, then you want to pick up some of those final scoring tiles. But there's only going to be 3 of them on the table each round, so
It's
you
very
might
hard
pick
to
up.
score more though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you need to have like one. There can be, if you have 2 tiles with the same kind of thing that can be paid for both of them, you have to have 2 of those.
Yes.
So I feel like all of the actions in themselves are good. They're interesting enough. They're very simple. So before we go into talk about like their simpleness, the weight, and who is it for,
The simpleness.
let's talk a bit about the theme, because this was one of those games like people are like, oh, it's such a cool theme, and it is. But this is a themeless Euro game.
Oh yeah, it's so themeless. I love the theme, but when I play the game, I was just like, I'm gonna get the card, and you were just like, you mean
Writing a memory?
yeah, or something in Opus? I don't even know what it's called. Commission.
And I'm like, might be that people who came over for a theme can find the theme here. Like,
I'm not finding it, but yeah.
But we
yeah.
are not. I just want to say that, like, if
Yeah.
you're looking for a highly thematic game, it's not one where you
not this.
feel like you're doing it.
No.
As I said, maybe if you are more distanced from the mechanisms of it all,
Yeah.
which we are not, but I didn't feel like the theme was very big here at all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not very into music. Maybe then you can see like, oh, this is this. I don't know.
But we did listen to the piece when we
Yeah,
played it the
that
first
wa-
time,
that
which
was
was
really
nice.
cool.
So wait.
yeah.
And who is it for?
Oh, wait. Who
Wait,
is it for?
who is it for?
I think this is like a on the maybe heavier side of medium.
Okay.
What do you think?
I feel like it's a medium game.
Okay, yeah.
But we can disagree on that. That's completely
I,
fine.
I didn't decide. I'm asking you
Yeah,
because
I feel like this is kind of course, this is us. Like for me,
Yeah.
this is a medium game.
Yeah.
If you never played a game that's more complex than Ludo, it's gonna be
super heavy.
super heavy.
Super
But you
duper
know that's
heavy.
how it is.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's a medium game. You feel like it's a bit on the upper side of medium.
Yeah, I will agree with medium. That's fine.
Who do you think it's for?
I-
Board gamers.
Yeah.
Bye.
I think it's for only musicians or composers.
So Yenwei basically is the only person we know who can play the game.
No one else. You wouldn't
You'll
get
play
it.
solo and you will
wouldn't
understand
get
it. Yeah.
Well, I think it's who is it for? You can answer this. You have decided on having this as a topic.
Yes, I feel like this is for somebody who wants that nice puzzle, not
Yeah.
being brain burny, but wanting it to be like a interesting puzzle. It's also, like we said, it's not that much interaction, but it's also many times where people can take something you wanted and that's going to be frustrating. So, not, but like normal frustrating, like somebody blocking your space in a worker placement game. So you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And it has some area majority. I think like if you enjoy a multi-use card system, you're going to enjoy this.
Yes.
It's pretty neat, the way you use something for resources and something for the actions. I think that is something people will like. I think that after we played it now, I don't feel like for me this is going to be a 4-player game. Speculating, as we always say when
Yes.
we haven't really played it before.
I think
So
3 is like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be good for 2 players, but if you are like into highly competitive 2-player games, I don't think this is going to be super well for your tastes.
Just before we going into final
final
thoughts and
thoughts of
stuff, what do you think about the kind of temporary resources? Because you have some resource tracks that you, depending on which
I
card.
love how the review just now suddenly has no order.
Yes. Sorry.
No worries at all.
Nobody cares about that. But
Timestamps do.
yes. Okay. Sorry. Timestamps.
So who is it for? The resources.
Yes, the resources. This
I
is
think
gonna
that's
be
fun.
a whole. Yeah.
I enjoy the resources that disappear, and you can get some that are small discs which you can actually keep.
Yeah.
And the other ones.
Because when I play, I'm just like, oh, but if I don't do this action
Yeah.
using those resources, they will be gone.
Get lost, yeah.
And then I might do another action that I was supposed to do.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like you always want to spend all those resources
Yes.
before they get lost.
I don't know why, but I want to maximize so I don't lose anything.
Yeah, that's true. So, final
Okay, now we'll go
thoughts.
to
And
final
is it
thoughts.
fun?
Yeah.
You can begin.
I can begin.
You're the beginner. I'm the other one.
I thought that this was a fun game.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with it because I think it's something about maybe how excited I am for it. I think it's a cool puzzle. I really like playing two cards and drawing two new and be like, oh, that is exactly what I need. Or
Boom.
gosh darn
Oh
it.
no, I didn't get what I
I
needed.
really
I'm
wanted
sad.
to get this moving action, and now I can see you're looking at that final scoring that I wanted, or the Requiem or something. But I don't think it's an amazing game. But I think it's a good game. I feel like I'm going to rate this a 7.5.
Awesome. I think it's a good game as well. I have fun playing it. I think the puzzle is good. I think that if it's going to be 1.5 hours, it's going to be great. If it's 2 hours, it's going to be too long. Because it's not that heavy. The decisions aren't super hard. Most of the time, they're pretty straightforward, but just enough to make it interesting. The decision feels meaningful.
Yeah.
And almost everything I do is kind of fun, like getting the card. 2 of the actions is that, which is kind of just like, you do it. And that is fine in a game like Concordia, where the actions are like boom, 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 boom. So here it was like a bit boring when we played 3 players. I played a card, got a new card, then had to wait 10 minutes for my next turn.
Yeah.
It's kind of going to be easier when you play it more times. I think it has many fun elements. I think it works together very well. I think everything works very well together. That's the same thing I just said. Didn't fall in love with it either. I think it's a good game as well. I'm going to give it a 7. It's good. Not amazing for me, but I know many people probably don't like it, so check it out if it's something you think will be a good fit for your group. And that's the end of the video. If you are still here and you have not subscribed, you can do so now. Bye.
Clicking the subscribe button. It's fun and it's free and makes us happy. Like this. If you want to do something that's not free, you can.
Go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and support us there. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.